public. My name is Harish. That's like hashish with an R. My parents gave it to me. I was very young. I couldn't protest. And if you have a name like that, and you're short, bald, old, and ugly, nobody goes out with you. Not even my wife. You don't see her here. I was warned by the organizers not to tell too many jokes. They said, you're very serious people, that you're looking for success and wisdom and so forth. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't have any wisdom to give you. What I do have are stories to tell you. And the stories are about my journey from a possible lucrative career as a technologist into ruining my life into the arts. And how did that happen? And it's a combination of nature and nurture. Oh, brilliant, isn't it? You haven't heard of that? Nature and nurture. But it's also a combination of many, many incidents and accidents and conversations and encounters I've had in my life. So I made a list of all those incidents, which I'm actually putting in a book. And I practiced it, came to 1 hour and 22 minutes. I hope you had lunch. They don't have drinks, but it would have been better if you had some drinks. Like alcohol that would help you go through this. So, Mahatma Gandhi, there's an obvious connection to what I'm saying, right? Mahatma Gandhi, you know what Mahatma Gandhi brought freedom to India, drove the British out, non-violence, peaceful person, saintly guy, was giving a speech. Tens of thousands of Indians sitting in front of him in a huge, huge tent, and listening and so forth, And in the front row, there's a woman. The more prominent, snooty people, Front row, there's a woman and she has a child, an infant, about 1 year old. And he's making a ton of noise. I don't know if you've been to any Indian events, this is very common. Indian kids running around, screaming, yelling, parents don't do anything. I don't know why, but that's a cultural thing. What do I know? So kids making a noise, and Gandhiji being Gandhiji doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, and he goes on and on droning about truth and nonviolence and all the wonderful things and so forth. And Pandit Nehru, who, Pandit Nehru, who was the Prime Minister of India, can't stand it anymore. He was short-tempered. So he goes over, takes the microphone away from Gandhi, and addresses the lady and says, "Lady, do you please stop this nonsense? This is disrespectful. Either quiet the kid or leave the room." Just in front of tens of thousands of people. Luckily, the kid became quiet. And, things could continue. I was the kid. Really. My mother never let me forget this thing. How many of us would have the chutzpah to interrupt and scream in front of Gandhi? It was foreshadowing. We knew what was going to come in my life. Oh, well. My mother also taught me that looking good, being witty, making money, dressing well, having good manners was equal to good hygiene. Like brushing your teeth does not count. Of course you're supposed to make money. Of course you're supposed to have a career. Of course you're supposed to take care of yourself. Of course you're supposed to be kind to your friends and so forth. What you do with the gifts God has given us to make a difference, to throw a rope for somebody, to hug somebody, to teach something to somebody, to create something, that's where we count. She said all those things when I was a kid. Who's listening? Who listens to one's parents? Are you kidding me? Anyway, years passed, and I heard about this college called Indian Institute of Technology. I mean, heard about this. CBS 60 Minutes did a story on it. The CEO of Google is from IIT. Tens of thousands of people have huge, huge corporations, which they have founded, and they made a ton of money and so forth. 500,000-600,000 kids apply for it, and maybe 1,000 or 500. I don't know how few get in. So in my time, that was not the case. You didn't have to go through exam like this. You just have to look cute. If you were handsome, they let you in. So I sent my picture. You let him in, right? Yeah, what the heck? Come on. You need good-looking people in colleges and so on. Look at that. A movie star, That's me. It's really me. Come on. So I get into IIT, studying engineering, on to a wonderful career, make a ton of money, invent new things, be an entrepreneur, like we've heard about and so forth. And in my second year, a friend of mine takes me to see a movie. And we have seen Indian movies. Boy meets girl. Boy doesn't even meet girl. Boy sees girl, boy starts singing songs. The girl starts singing songs. Boy starts doing things which would be called sexual harassment in any other country. But who's counting? So it goes on and go on. And then group of people show up, wearing beautiful clothes, and they have a group dance, and they keep on singing and dancing and so forth. A villain shows up, there are fights and so forth. And then 2.5 hours later, there's a group scene and in which there's a wedding, and then we all go home. Love it. In between, there's always, whenever the woman, the female protagonist wears a wet sari, it's going to rain. It's going to rain and the clothes will stick to her, It happens in most of the movies and so forth. That's how you get your money's worth. Love these things. So my friend takes me to go see a movie. This is a black and white movie. And it's in 3 parts. And it has no good-looking hero, no good-looking heroine. Are you kidding me? And it's in a language called Bengali, Bangla. It has no subtitles. A language I don't understand. Oh, well, what the hell am I going to do? He's my friend. I don't want to annoy him. He's from Bengal. And the film is about a postmaster. The first story is about a postmaster. Young guy, he gets assigned to this village as a postmaster. No electricity, no running water, lots of mosquitoes, old people who gather in the post office because that's the only social place to gather, and they sing horrible, horrible songs, and this is his life. He's miserable. He has a 10-year-old girl over there who works there. She's an orphan, and she cooks for him, cleans for him, is his servant, and so forth, takes care of him in general, and so forth. He's writing letters to his bosses and saying, and get me out of here. I mean, what would you like? This is his first job, to be in a remote village with mosquitoes. Time passes, and he takes some interest in her. He teaches her how to read and write and so forth, and he's still writing letters and so forth. Months go by, maybe a year goes by, and suddenly he gets a letter from the administration saying, guess what? You're transferred. He's transferred to a bigger place, a city, instead of this whole of a village. He's ecstatic. So, okay, he packs up, puts on his nice clothes, gets his umbrella, and starts walking. There's no Paka road, this is all dirt road and so forth. Anyway, he's going, he says goodbye to all the villagers and so forth, and he's looking for the girl. Her name is Ratan, looking for her, and he can't find her. And he waits a little bit, and then she's at the well fetching water. That's how you fetch water there. And eventually he sees her. She says, hey, I'm leaving. Want to say goodbye? I want to give her $1 or something. And she comes by, does not answer him, does not look at him. She keeps going. She can't carry the bucket. It's too heavy. She puts it down, adjusts her sari, picks it up again. She's 10 years old. And he says, look, I'm leaving, can we just say goodbye? And she does not look up. She just keeps walking past him. That's it. And you realize that this was a love story. For her, he was everything. He was her father, her mentor, her guru, her teacher. But he, like the rest of us, is self-absorbed, self-centered, worried only about his career and, where is he going to go make more money, and totally ignored the love and the need that was around him. Next day, I rode my bicycle in the rain, without a raincoat, without an umbrella, to see this movie again. No hero, no dances, no songs, black and white. Are you kidding me? And remember, it's a language I don't understand. And I made two decisions. I was going to learn Bengali so I could read the work of Rabindranath Tagore, Nobel laureate, on whose story this movie was based. The movie is called Teen Kanya. And to watch movies of Satyajit Ray, which were in Bengali, great film director from India. And someday to get into a field, perhaps making movies where I would tell stories like that would touch people's hearts. This was more gripping and more enjoyable and more rewarding to me than, making bridges or whatever wonderful things engineers do. That's the scene from Teen Kanya. That's the person, the girl, so forth. So, let's show another picture of me. So years pass, I apply for immigration to United States. You fill out a form, and get a green card. These days, I think it takes 5 to 15 years, or I don't know how long it takes to get to be able to come to the United States. In my day, you didn't have to do that. You just sent your picture. Oh, you heard that one before. See my picture? They say, come on in. And I came. And I remember I got into publishing, and I remember what my mother had taught me, that I had to do things for society, for people around me, touch people's heart, and so forth. And I got the opportunity to host a radio program called Music from India on WDUQ, which is now called WESA, an NPR station. I don't know if any of you heard Indian music. It sounds like the singer's having stomach problems. Like that. Indians really get off on that. It's actually very, very beautiful, divine music. It goes back 2,000-3,000 years, and it's very soulful and very wonderful. In those days, we could not get albums and EPs over here, so I would go to New York and Toronto and buy that music and do this. So that was in 1972. I've been doing that program since then till now. These days, for the last 30 years, with the help of my friend Dr. Vijay Bal, and we take turns every other day. With our own money, volunteering, bringing the music to the world. Generations of people, 3 generations of people have grown up listening to this music. We hope it brought some joy to them. So anyway, this is now. I think that looks like me. Anyway, among other things, I used to paint. I used to show my paintings when I was in high school. When I was very young, I was like 6 years old, and my art teacher told me that I was very good. I think she said that to everybody, but I believed her, so I figured I was good. So anyway, I continued to paint, and I came to Pittsburgh and started showing my work, and I've had about 20 one-man shows around the world. I probably have a show coming up in Beijing next year, probably one in India. I've shown in New York, Frankfurt, Paris, Pittsburgh many, many times, and so forth. Hundreds of paintings were made and are in people's home, and I hope when they look at it and it brings them some joy. This is an example of one of my paintings. The post office almost considered putting it on a stamp. This is a jazz series paintings on when they were doing jazz series. Here's another one. This is a mandala, which is like 5 feet by 4 feet painting. I just sold that actually last week. But anyway, so continued doing these paintings. Here's another one, bigger than me. It doesn't take much to be bigger than me. But still, it's like 6 feet by 6 feet mandala painting and so forth. Anyway, so one year, many years ago, I got a chance to show my paintings in Paris. A group show, but okay, I don't do group shows anymore, but okay, Paris. Are you kidding me? So another excuse to go to Paris again. So we end up going to Paris. Those of you who've been to Paris, you know the Louvre, the Jour de Paume, which now became, paintings were moved to Musée d'Orsay, the Impressionist paintings. And then there's another gallery called L'Orangerie. Next time you go to Paris, go to L'Orangerie. L'Orangerie has 2 huge oval rooms downstairs. And these have the last paintings which Monet did, water lilies. Huge, huge, passionate paintings which Monet did, and he gave them as a gift to the nation. Beautiful paintings. Had to go there. Went to one room, overwhelming, you can see. Went to the next room, and looking at the paintings, and all of a sudden, a bunch of Japanese students, girls students, came in, all wearing the same dress, same haircut, same height and so forth. And there was a teacher among them. And before we knew it, they formed a circle, looking inwards, and in the middle of the gallery. I mean, what are you doing? So people started looking as what's going on. And before you knew it, a barely audible hum came from the group. They were singing. And the sound was like pastel ribbons, which floated through the room and filled the room with warmth. And it kept going on for about 2-3 minutes and so forth. And then they raised the voice just one time quickly, like a wave, and kissed the paintings and rolled it all back, and it was utter silence. And they started walking away. So I ran up to the teacher, and he bowed like the Japanese do, and I said, "What's going on? What are you doing this thing?" So he tells me that many years ago, a Japanese poet had come to Paris, happened to be at the Law Orangery, saw these paintings, was so moved that he went back to Japan and wrote a song. Years have gone by, and he said, since we were coming to Paris, we thought we would come here and deliver the song to the paintings, because the paintings hadn't heard it, and now the cycle is complete. You see, he didn't want to be on a TED Talk. He didn't want to make money. He didn't want to be on TV. He just wanted to deliver the song. They just wanted to deliver the song back to the paintings. There's something more profound going on in the world than making money. Nothing wrong with that. But there's more going on than personal glory and personal success and so forth. I put that scene in my movie. That's a scene from my movie of the Japanese girls singing. I decided, remembering what I'd been taught, that I should change my life. And instead of pursuing more success and more material wealth, that I was going to reach even more people. I'm already doing the radio, I'm already doing the paintings, and I would do the logical thing as an engineer, is to make movies. Obviously. Don't you get it? So I read 60 books, I attended seminars, I went to Hollywood, I went to other places while continuing with my publishing and so forth, and got into a film crew in Pittsburgh. And the movie did very well. Then I produced another film, and the movie totally tanked. And then I made another film called The Journey. It had two of India's biggest stars. And it also had, here's me directing the movie. And then it also had Carrie Preston, True Blood, I guess she's in, big film star. It also had Michael Emerson, who was in Lost, other places. Michael those days didn't have a job. I helped him in those days and so forth. And I made the film. And the film was very successful. It was shown around the world. You probably didn't see it. It had no sex, no violence, no foul language, nothing blew up. Why would you watch it, right? I get it. Next film. All that's going to happen. Anyway, so film was very successful. It was on TV and so forth. And because of the film, I got roped into many discussions in Pittsburgh about the quality of life in Pittsburgh and why don't we attract immigrants. It used to be a vibrant city. We used to have attract so many immigrants, but we have a St. Patrick's Day parade. We have a Columbus Day parade, but the Italians and the Irish are no longer coming. We should have those parades, but we should also have an India Day parade. We should also have a Chinese New Year, and we don't do that. So I would mention all this to all the powers that be. So one day, one person challenged me. He says, "Why are you going around complaining to white people? I mean, you're an American. You've been here 30-some years. You know art, you know music, you know film. You go around beating your chest like you know all these wonderful things and how special you are. Why don't you do it?" Makes sense. It turns out that I was about to make a movie in the Himalayas with some very big stars. The money fell through. So we started Silk Screen, which is an Asian arts and culture organization. The idea is to build bridges from Asia to Pittsburgh, cultural bridges through movies. So we have a film festival, very, very successful film festival. We also have produced dances. We present dance groups. We also have a jazz group. You see, I didn't get the memo that you have to be 17 years old with long hair, smoking dope to start a band in your garage. I did that in my late 60s, and I found out too late, oh my God, it wasn't supposed to happen like that. So 2-3 years ago, I started a band called Silk Sound. This is the band. They produced an album called Sungate, judged last year to be among the 10 best jazz albums in America. Who knew? See, engineering degree helps. So, and the event has become very prominent. I mean, some prominent people, who's that? That's the mayor, in case you don't know, Bill Peduto. Prominent people come to the festival, and my life, as you can imagine, is very, very difficult. See, that's terrible. Look at me, surrounded by all these people harassing me. So, I'm going over my time. At my age, I'm in the last chapter of my life. And most of us at my age start thinking about how the end is going to come. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to go? What should happen? And I keep thinking of Krishna. Krishna is an Indian god, if you don't know Indian mythology. He fought in the Mahabharata, or rather advised in the Mahabharata. His lecture or his teaching are the core of what Gita is, which is the Indian holy book and so forth. God, incarnation of God. Anyway, mythology, the story goes that Krishna retired after the Mahabharata, went to his kingdom to be a great king. And in the afternoons, he would take off with his flute, he used to play the flute, and go to the forest and sit under a tree and play his flute. And one day when he was doing that, a hunter far away heard this noise and fired an arrow, a poisoned arrow, thinking it was a deer. And the arrow hit Krishna on the foot. Krishna cried out. The hunter goes over and, oh my God, he just killed God. He just killed the king at least. So he says, should I call 911? Should I get an ambulance? What should we do? And Krishna said, no, sit down. Don't do anything. Don't worry about it. And Krishna made the hunter who had killed him sit down and said, listen to my music. I'm going to play the flute, and you sit and listen. And Krishna played the flute and continued to play the flute until he died. Thank you very much.